You know how it goes? Things like every other week, there's a new wave of AI stuff hitting the headlines.
Oh, absolutely. It's constant.
Right now, OpenAI's got these O3 and O4 mini reasoning models out. And the buzz, well, it's already intense. Genius level capabilities, they're saying.
Genius level, yeah. Heard that one.
And if you're trying to, keep up without feeling totally swamped by just the sheer amount of news, I get it. I really do.
It is a familiar cycle, isn't it? That feeling of, wait, didn't they just announce something big?
Exactly.
We had all the talk about GPT 4.1, then it was 40 image generation, then GPT 4.5, the speed, and honestly, the naming can be a bit, well, confusing.
Yeah, the naming is definitely something. You almost wonder, have we hit peak AI hype again?
Could be.
But, amidst all that talk about abstract reasoning, one thing felt a bit more concrete. OpenAI launching Codeex, that open source CLI tool.
Codeex, right.
For those of us interested in the practical side, especially for development, that seems like something you could actually, sink your teeth into.
Absolutely. While genius level AI is intriguing, I guess, a tool like Codeex gives you something tangible, a way to test the waters in a specific area, like coding help.
Right. So that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to dig into these new AI developer tools, focus a bit on Codeex, and try to figure out what they really do.
Cut through the noise.
Exactly. Get a realistic picture, especially for someone listening who wants to get up to speed, quickly, but also thoroughly in this crazy fast field.
And it's a really vital conversation, I think. With releases coming so fast, telling real progress apart from just, slick marketing,
Yeah.
that's getting tougher.
Okay, so let's jump straight into Codeex then. What we've seen is it's this open source command line tool supposed to help write, run, analyze code right from your terminal or IDE. The sources we looked at kind of position it like Claude code. And that idea of having AI support right there where you're actually coding sounds pretty good on paper.
It does sound appealing, yeah. The potential for an AI assistant just integrated right into your workflow right there, that's attractive.
Well, obviously I had to try it. Had to give it a go.
Of course.
Thought I'd give it something, relatively simple. Or what I thought was simple. Build a basic YouTube clone.
Okay, a YouTube clone. Ambitious, but okay.
Hey, maybe. First thing Codeex did, asked for more details, more requirements. And honestly, having dealt with vague project briefs myself, I almost felt for it,
That actually says something important, doesn't it, about current AI. They can generate stuff, but they need really clear, specific instructions.
Yeah.
Any ambiguity in the prompt?
Yeah, you get weird results.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not quite what you wanted.
So after I gave it a bit more detail, it started chugging along. And it did feel quite slow, I have to say.
Slow.
Yeah. Then it started asking me to confirm things, like whole series of actions. Should I do this? Should I do that?
Right, the confirmation step.
The anticipation was building.
Oh.
But in the end, the output was, well, a bit anticlimactic.
Oh, dear.
Ended up with just a bunch of empty folders. I could see the code it was trying to generate scroll by in the terminal, but nothing actually, landed. Nothing concrete.
Wow. That really highlights the gap, doesn't it? Between generating code snippets based on text and building a working application.
Totally.
There's so many steps, dependencies,
Right.
things current models are still figuring out how to handle properly.
Mm-hmm.
It's the translation from abstract requests to complex working code.
Mm-hmm.
That's still the big hurdle.
The source material did offer a possible out, though. It suggested it might be because I was using Windows for development.
The classic Windows excuse.
Right. Maybe it works better on macOS. And it also mentioned even now it struggled to generate Svelte 5 code with runes.
That OS point is interesting. Suggests the environment really matters for these tools.
Yeah.
And the difficulty with newer stuff like Svelte 5 runes shows they aren't quite there yet for all the ways people build software today.
Yeah.
Still catching up.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it? And it ties into this whole massive arms race idea the source mentioned. Silicon Valley falling over itself to attract developers like us with these AI tools.
Oh, definitely. The potential to automate or just speed up coding is massive. So the investment is pouring in.
The source I read listed a whole bunch. Claude Code, Copilot, Divan Augment, Bolt, Windsurf Cursor, Firebase Studio. I mean, the list just keeps going.
It's crowded.
And here's something I really felt. I'm already paying for several of these, yet sometimes it feels like my code quality is actually getting worse.
It's not ideal.
I bet some listeners have felt that too, right? That promise of easy coding that just doesn't quite happen.
That's a really crucial point. Just having more tools doesn't mean better results. How do they work together? How good is each one really? Does juggling multiple AI helpers just add, more headaches?
It really does feel like that sometimes. And speaking of this crowded space, there's this rumor OpenAI might be looking to buy Windsurf
Windsurf, right.
for, get this, $3 billion.
$3 billion, wow.
And the interesting bit is how Windsurf is described. Just a VS Code fork with AI bells and whistles.
Huh. So basically a customized editor. That's a huge potential price tag. Really shows the perceived value of embedding AI right into the coding environment.
It makes you think, right?
Well,
Especially when the source points out Cursor, another VS Code fork with AI built in, is apparently pulling in $100 million a year in revenue.
100 million, okay.
It almost makes you wonder if the real money is just, taking something that works and slapping AI onto it.
Well, Cursor's success definitely shows there's a strong market demand. Developers seem willing to pay for that integrated help for the potential productivity boost.
Now, you can't really talk code editors and AI without bringing up Microsoft.
True. VS Code creators.
Exactly. And they've just pushed out a big update to Copilot, something called Agent Mode.
Agent Mode, yeah, I saw that.
The source I read even suggested this could be a Cursor or Windsurf killer.
Well, Microsoft definitely has the home field advantage with VS Code.
Yeah.
Integrating advanced AI directly into the most popular editor. That's a serious challenge to the others, for sure.
And this Agent Mode, it sounds pretty capable. Apparently, it can create files, run commands, and integrate these model context protocol servers, basically letting Copilot know more about your project context.
Right, so it gets smarter about suggestions.
Seems like it. Moving beyond just suggesting code snippets towards handling, bigger development tasks.
Exactly. Not just suggesting code, but orchestrating actions, creating files, running commands. That's a noticeable step up for these assistants.
Then there's Google. They've got Firebase Studio used to be Project IDX.
Yes, IDX rebranding.
What's interesting there is it's a browser-based VS Code fork hosted by Google.
All cloud-based.
And tightly integrated with their Gemini 2.5 model for the code generation side. Plus, it can apparently handle hosting and deploying the code it makes automatically.
That's a different angle. Being entirely cloud-based could streamline setup, maybe.
Right.
Especially with that Gemini integration and the auto-deploy features.
And the source I looked at had some really positive things to say about Gemini 2.5. Called it maybe the best programming model available right now, according to many in the field.
That's high praise. The underlying model is obviously critical. The quality of that language model directly impacts how good the suggestions and generated code actually are.
So I took Firebase Studio for a quick spin, too. Tried my YouTube clone idea again.
Brave. How did it go this time?
Well, this be a difference.
Oh?
Night and day compared to Codeex and Claude Code. Firebase Studio was way faster.
It's just good.
But guess what? It also ignored my request for Svelte 5 with runes.
Deja vu.
Yeah, it just went ahead and wrote everything in Next.js instead.
That seems to be a pattern then. They can handle various languages, sure, but often default to the big established frameworks, newer or niche stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe less robust support still.
Definitely felt that way. But I will say, the overall experience of having the AI right in the IDE, like Firebase Studio does, that felt much more natural, more user-friendly.
That seamless integration is probably key, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Making it easy to interact with the AI, reducing friction, that's crucial for getting developers to actually use these things effectively.
So after trying these out, looking at the sources, what's the big picture here? What's your overall take?
Well, the source material puts it pretty bluntly, doesn't mince words. The final verdict was basically all the AI coding tools they tested kind of suck in their own special ways.
Slight laugh. Okay, direct.
It's strong, yeah, but it reflects the reality, I think. Lots of promise, but still pretty far from being perfect, seamless solutions.
Yeah.
It's almost a bit sobering, all this hype. And on the ground, it's still messy.
It is a good reminder, though. Don't get totally swept away by the genius AI talk, but also don't just write these tools off as useless either.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance. Acknowledge the limits, but also see the potential and just how fast things are moving. That source's slightly cheeky advice to ship as much AI slop as you possibly can kind of captures it. It's an exciting, experimental time to be a developer, even with the rough edges.
It's true. Even with the problems I hit trying to build something slightly complex like video streaming for my fake YouTube clone, it's clear AI is going to be a bigger and bigger part of how we build software.
No doubt about it.
And speaking of video streaming, even as AI helps write code, you still need solid infrastructure for complex features like that. Which actually brings us to our sponsor.
Right, MX. They offer an API-first video infrastructure solution. Basically takes the headache out of adding video to your apps. Things like reliable hosting, efficient encoding so videos play smoothly everywhere, analytics, thumbnails, even live streaming. MX handles it all via a developer-friendly API.
Sounds useful.
Yeah, and it's built to scale. Used by companies from startups right up to names like Substack, Patreon, HubSpot. So if you're a developer needing video features, definitely check them out. You can explore MX for free at mx.com/fireship.
Okay, so wrapping this up for everyone listening, the AI coding tool landscape. It's buzzing. It's changing fast.
Super dynamic.
And despite some really big claims, that genius level stuff, we're not quite at a point where there's one perfect, flawless tool. Far from it, maybe.
Yeah, it's really important to keep a critical eye, look past the hype, evaluate what they actually do, what the limits are. But also, don't get too downbeat. This field is moving incredibly quickly. What we see today could look very different pretty soon.
Absolutely. And that leads me to maybe a final thought for you to chew on. While these tools right now might feel a bit quirky, maybe even sloppy sometimes, the sheer amount of activity, the billions being invested, that points to something pretty fundamental changing in how we create software. It feels inevitable, right?
It really does.
So even if they aren't perfect now, think about this. What truly game-changing shifts in how we actually develop software might we see in the next few years as these tools get better, smoother, more capable? It's definitely something worth mulling over.